Ravens Wrap is sponsored by Bud Light, Holiday Inn Express, the Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn, Russell Street Report, the original Green Turtle, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
In April 1959, Art Wall won the Masters, edging out Carey Middlecoff and Arnold Palmer by finishing birdie, 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 par birdie. 1 month later, Ocean City Golf Club celebrated the opening of their first 18 holes. That course has been transformed now into one of the most scenic golf layouts on the East Coast. Come experience 36 of the most beautiful and challenging holes you'll find anywhere. Ocean City Golf Club in Ocean City, Maryland.
Welcome back in one final time this season to a special Super Bowl edition of the original Green Turtles Ravens Wrap Show right here on Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio 93.5 The Beach, broadcasting from the Blue Ox Bar and Grill, 127th Street and Coastal Highway in Ocean City with Ravens Roost 44 and all Ravens fans across Delmarva. We talked at the end of the last segment, John, you talked about executing in the red zone. The Ravens in the playoffs, 80%, 8 of 10 in the red zone. I think that's key, especially you talked about going up against the New England Patriots. That's always key. You can't exchange field goals and touchdowns against the Patriots. The Ravens have been 80% there. That's something that's going to be very important. And taking a look, one of the few weaknesses of that 49ers defense is their red zone defense. They're 28th in the league. So that's something to look at, that when we do get there, which may not be often, but when we do, John, we've got to convert. But the Ravens so far, they've done a really good job of that.
Yeah, I tell you, I think it's all about touchdown. I mean, there's an old adage, we talked about it last week, you know, for every field goal you kick, you're 3 points closer to losing the game. Yeah. So, I mean, you cannot, against the best teams in the league, and the Ravens have done a great job in the playoffs here, Tommy, against the best teams in the league, you need to score touchdowns.
Well, you know, this game is so great because, I mean, it's in New Orleans. We're coming from where we're coming from. They're coming from West Coast. We're both outdoor teams, and this is an indoor venue. The Ravens I don't particularly do well in indoor venues, I don't think, and I'm not sure about San Francisco record, but you know what? There's no advantage. I mean, whatever their 3.5-point favorite, whatever, they can throw that out the window, it doesn't matter. But I tell you, confidence in what the Ravens are doing right now, and distractions. I mean, we all have been reading the paper lately about the distractions and stuff like that. It's right now. It's their time, and you have to feel really good. And I do believe in destiny sometimes with teams. It doesn't necessarily mean how you were 6 weeks ago, but how you're playing now. And the 49ers are playing well too. But I still believe Colin Kaepernick, the kid, is played only 7 games in the NFL, and he's done well. But I like our experience, and I like our mixture of veterans and our young players, and I think we're playing well at the right time.
They're going to have to rattle him. They're going to have to hit him any chance they get. They're going to have to hit him, get him on the ground, get him thinking about other things. You saw Wes Walker drop a couple balls last week because he's thinking what's coming behind him to blow him up. The defense has to blow their receivers up, hit them hard, and punish them as much as they can, so they're thinking about the hits and not completing the pass or making the great play. But in the last segment, I said Ray Lewis is the best defensive player of all time, and I'll stand by that comment. The guy's been here for 17 years, never had a great offense, and willed his team to play the best of their ability every year and take them to the playoffs, take them for championships, and to me, just the greatest defensive player of all time.
I tell you, Mike. All right, I'll give it up.
I'll drink to that after the show.
Yeah, that's right. Keeping it on the defensive side, though, Mike, I mean, I think there are 4 words. I was going to say 2 words for Colin Kaepernick. 2 sets of 2 words. One is Bernard Pollard. You know what I mean?
I'd love to see him on the safety blitz on Sunday.
So I think he's going to have to worry about him. But the other one, I really believe, if the Ravens win, of course, one of the Ravens will be the player of the game. But if it's not Joe, the more likely going to be the quarterback. But if it's not Joe, I think it's going to be Ed Reed. I think this is an Ed Reed game all over the place. I think Kaepernick's going to see what he thinks is there, is not really going to be there. And I wouldn't be surprised if Ed Reed's all over the place. Emotional game for him as well. And I think he's going to take one to the house. He's probably going to get another one to set up another touchdown. I think he's got. I'm feeling number 20 this week.
I like that.
Let's go.
I mean, where he's not going up. He's not going up against Peyton Manning. He's not going up against Tom Brady. He's going up against a kid who thinks who's being told nonstop all week long that he is Jesus. I mean, that's basically what it is. So, I mean, this guy is
He's handled it well, though.
Yeah. Well, let's give a little overview. I mean, the 49ers, that is, they started out 6-2-1. Alex Smith gets a concussion in that St. Louis game in which they ended up tying. So they're 6-2-1. Kaepernick comes in, gets a start against the Bears. They win, I believe, 34-6 in that one. He goes 7-2. But they're still predicated on a very strong run game. It's a version of the West Coast offense. They like using, of course, their tight ends, Vernon Davis, their running backs, their fullbacks and such. And they run a very multiple schematic front up there in terms of the run game. You'll see a lot of different things that they're going to throw at the Ravens. But their pass is set up on the run. So they're going to be a tough challenge up front. There's no question about it. Their passing game, though, is less of a scare. Michael Crabtree is at yards after the catch, but, he doesn't scare me any more than a Wes Welker, and we did a pretty good job in terms of containing him. The biggest play they had in that game was 32 yards. You go back to the Denver game. The biggest play, Eric Decker, 34. So we're not giving up huge plays to these guys. Randy Moss, he thinks he's great. He's not. He's not anywhere close to that. Yeah, Vernon Davis is going to be a matchup issue, but we've always been pretty good at taking away teams' top receiver. It's the other guys that we have to step up.
Yeah, I tell you, and the 49ers run very multiple style of offense and defense. But on offense, this pistol, you just need to be disciplined. And our personnel matches up for this because we don't have a lot of guys flying off the edge. And we just played the Redskins. I think Griffin only had RG3 only had 34 yards rushing, something like that. Now, Morris, the running back, he had 130 yards rushing.
And that's the issue between the tackles. You got to stop the run.
So
Frank Gore between the tackles.
Haloti not as much healthier now, so if he can handle these double teams, and if the ends maintain their discipline, and someone puts a helmet on Kaepernick, I think, Tommy, we have shot to stifle the offense a little bit. I'm not worried about the receivers. Vernon Davis, he'll get bracketed. I think we'll be all right.
Well, the pistol, you talk about how they were 6-2-1. They were a pocket passing team. Alex, they were a different team. They changed their offense for Colin Kaepernick. Yeah. They did. They changed it all. And the pistol is not the option. You take 2 steps up. And it's unique. It's really unique. It's even more. It's sort of what the Redskins run, but instead of running 4 steps back, they hold it. And you know what? It's all discipline. It's like Ray Lewis said it today. It's not, and like you said, and it comes down to tackling. It's not one player can stop that. It's got to be discipline on the defensive end and the outside linebackers. They have to read it. They have to make sure who hands the ball and who gets the ball. I'm not too worried about their passing offense. Vernon Davis and Kaepernick have not actually been hitting on all cylinders. Up until the last game, they weren't doing that well.
That's a great point.
They really weren't, and he was more of a running guy. They've changed their whole scheme halfway through the season. They've been successful, granted, but if you can stop that, the Ravens, I think, given 2 weeks to prepare, and everybody's talking about this, they stopped that. I think they put 49ers in a heap of trouble. I really do.
Well, here we are, 96 hours away from the big game, and it's going to be exciting for everybody. And it's going to take a perfect game on all aspects, special teams, defense, offense. Everyone's going to have to play their best game of the year to pull off a miracle, what they've done here in the postseason.
This is championship football. This is championship anything. I mean, you got to show up. Your average isn't going to be good enough to win this game because the other team's just as good as you are. So, I mean, that's a true statement there, Ray. And it comes down to youth and athleticism on one side versus wisdom and experience. So what's going to happen? The Ravens have overcome all postseason. That's really the theme.
Much tougher road.
Much tougher road. They've overcome. They've played the best teams. This is the Super Bowl. So you have to overcome. There's no weather concerns, but you have to overcome this whole event called the Super Bowl. All the emotion. That's right. They're going to have to overcome all that. And you have the Joe Cool. You have the Ray Lewis. You have the leaders on both sides. You have the team that just feels like, you know what? This isn't good enough for us. Getting here isn't good enough. They've been to the playoffs and made this run so many times.
And you get the sense that both of the teams are like the same kind of team. The brothers are coaching. They both have similar styles. and it's going to be one heck of a game.
It's going to be old-fashioned football. I mean, there'll be big plays, but in between the tackles, it's going to be your hard-nosed, smash-mouth football. And again, both teams are very representative, John, of their personalities.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the 49ers may win it next year, but they're not winning it this year. I mean, there's a graduation process.
I like that. Well, let's talk. So you got him going.
You're killing our time.
All right, does anybody dare?
We can do that going out of the show.
Are you going to ask the scores? Yeah. I dare somebody to San Francisco.
Look at you there. Let's while we have some time left, quickly offensively. All right, that is a team, John, that is very difficult to run against. Their front seven. I do think that Caldwell's going to have to throw the ball a little bit more on first down, take her chances downfield, but spread out the defense. We saw Joe thrive in 4 wide, 1 backs. Get those slot matchups against their safeties and linebackers. Tommy, you talked about they're not as strong there. Pitta and Bolden, and then take your shots at times with Smith and Jones. I think that's going to be the key, and then mix in the run a little bit.
I think you're going to have to stay committed to the run. Tommy brought it up. It's been on ESPN too that Caldwell's running the ball far more than Cameron was. What that does, even though we're not running it very successfully, we're staying committed. 3rd and 6, not a bad deal. You know what I mean? I know it's not fun, but 2nd and 8, 2 yards a pop. 3rd and 6, you can convert those at 50% clip, and that's we'll take that. And then we have shots on first down. You're setting up the plays. We're seeing a lot more Joe throwing the ball in the middle of the field. Well, that opens up when the linebackers are coming in because they're running the ball. So the commitment to the run, even if it's not terribly successful, extremely important, especially in a Super Bowl type game where you have to. Sometimes it's just easier to come out and smash them in the mouth than get the juices flowing.
And Caldwell, Tommy, I think Caldwell will do that. He's shown that even if it's not working in the beginning, he's going to stick with that run game where sometimes Cam would abandon it.
Rice was 19 for 48 last week. Not great, right? But they didn't give up on it. They didn't give up, even when they didn't panic or whatever. And that's the thing. I think Cameron would always bag it right away if we didn't get it. We'd start throwing the ball, 40, 50. It was like, okay, you got out of it. But you know what? 2.5 yards. But they stay with it, even though they don't get it. But 3rd and 5. I mean, the greatest play, even with. I think was when Flacco threw it on 3rd and 13 to Dennis Pitta back in Denver, because that wins the game just as much as the bomb does. Because if they don't get that, we have to punt the ball. They're in field goal position already. But how cool was that? Back to your own 3-yard line and throw it on 3rd and 13 to your tight end. You have confidence to do that. I'm telling you, you can beat anybody anytime. And I think that's what the Ravens are riding on right now.
Ray, we got to get predictions here. We're under 60 seconds. Go ahead.
All right, predictions: Ravens 31, San Fran 24.
Honestly, is anybody going to pick against the Ravens here? I think it's 23-17, the Ravens.
I'm right with you. I think it's 24. I'm going to be generous and respectful to the 49ers, 24-16.
All right. Our buddy Tony Lombardi texted me. He likes 31-17. I'm going 28-24 because it equals 52, and that's what this season's all about.
Right on.
Let's go. That's going to do it. The Raven Drive Show, Comcast Beach TV, and 93.5 The Beach. We are back. Oh.
Ravens Wrap is sponsored by Bud Light, Holiday Inn Express, the Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn, Russell Street Report, the original Green Turtle, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
Welcome to the Comfort Inn Gold Coast. Conveniently located just 1 block from the beach and adjacent to shopping at the Gold Coast Mall and the movie theater. Newly renovated and open year-round with a marvelous bayfront view. Visit us on the web at comfortgoldcoast.com and see our hot deals and great golf packages, or simply call our direct reservation line to plan your stay.